to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms, including YouTube as well, at Keys to the City. We're going to get into the NFL in just a few minutes. We'll talk about the New York Giants and how this game literally is such a winnable game. If the Giants can't win this game, we have major issues going forward. We'll tell you the whole injury report for the 49ers. You're not going to believe it. It is fascinating how many players are out. We'll talk about Dak, another prove-it game. We know how he is against better competition, higher competition. He struggles. You're playing against right now, to some, maybe the early season favorite in the MVP, and Russell Wilson. And then I want to talk about Carson Wentz and Drew Brees, two quarterbacks that are so respected around our league, but yet have struggled in the first two games early on in the season. Why is that? And then we'll close out with the massive Monday night game, Lamar, Chiefs, Mahomes, Ravens. It's everything you want in a perfect.
Hopefully Lamar can win this one. He hasn't beaten Mahomes yet.
That's true, but he is home. It's a fascinating week in the NFL, and I want to bring in the Joseph Aguirre because we are starting off with some New York Yankee baseball. Where is he? He's hiding. Where is he, Joe?
Oh, no, he's here.
No, I thought you were hiding. I thought you were MIA like the New York Yankees in the past couple games. The New York Yankees bats have gone MIA. They're getting the schnoz beaten by the Blue Jays, losing last night again, getting swept. Now they're on a 5-game losing streak. They're
1-4. They've lost 5 of their last 6.
Okay.
So because they lost to the Red Sox, they won, and then they lost the next 3. So
let's get into it. The playoffs are about to happen. We're on the verge, finishing off with the Miami Marlins, another team that surprisingly will look like they're going to make the playoffs unless they get swept or something. The Miami Marlins are going to make the playoffs this year. So shout out to them. The team that had COVID, and is going to make the playoffs.
Well, no, even the Cardinals.
The
Cardinals are not even going to play a full 60-game season,
and they're still going to make the playoffs.
And they're going to make the playoffs. They said the only reason they would make up games if it comes down to a differential. Doesn't look like it's going to be, but it's still to be determined. You got 3 major games this weekend, and for baseball, these are playing games. This is a postseason 3-game series this weekend for a lot of teams. Because for the Yankees, they can't get swept. Okay, their games are still meaningful. And for the Marlins, as you just spoke, Trev, their games are meaningful because they need to win to solidify their position in the playoffs.
So let's get into it. Coming into this year, before all pre-COVID, the New York Yankees, along with the LA Dodgers, were the odds-on favorite to return and make a World Series appearance. I think we all really came to an agreement, and most of MLB,
that's what I had.
Most MLB people around the world would have said that it would be a Dodgers-Yankees World Series. Well, the Dodgers have played their part. They look like the front runners right now to just not the NL, but to win the whole thing. And then the Yankees coming in kind of slow, coming in cold right now. What do we make of this? But it could be also interesting because of that P word. And I say the P word is pressure. The Yankees coming into this year faced immense pressure, along with the Dodgers, because they signed Garrett Cole. This was the one we were waiting for. This Yankee lineup, we always said, they need that true number 1 ace. We thought Severino, he's been dealing with injury. He's been dealing with the injuries the past couple of years. But we always were looking for that true number 1. We had CC back in the day. We signed Garrett Cole. Bam, there it goes. Everybody's on the Yankees. Oh, here we go. The Yankees spending big bucks. The pressure's on them. Well, they're struggling. So my question is, do the Yankees actually face any pressure coming into this postseason because of all the injuries, because of the season, and just because of the way they've been playing? They're not one of the favorites to come in. I think we can all say if they do get hot, they could be the favorite. But that's a big if. Going into the AL side of things, I think we can all agree the favorite could be the Tampa Bay Rays.
No, it's not could be. They are the favorite.
I don't know, because there are people that would say the Yankees still, when they get hot, they could be the odds-on favorite, Joe. Am I wrong, guys?
Yes, 100%. I think the Yankees, other than the way the Yankees match up with Tampa, which won't be a problem till a little bit later on, the Yankees are the best team in baseball. top to bottom. No doubt about it. On paper, that's the best team in baseball. There's a reason everybody expected Yankees-Dodgers. We know the Yankees are capable of playing like the gangbusters that they are. They've done it twice. They've gone on 2 really sick runs this season. There's no reason why over the last couple of days, let them get a couple more losses in there. Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't. I mean, you're in a tough spot now anyway. You're going to have to bang your way out of it, and you've got the guy that you want in Garrett Cole. Masahiro Tanaka, 8-3 in his career in the postseason. We know what he does. J-Hap's been hotter than anybody in baseball over the last month of the season. So I think the Yankees go into the postseason with a 3-man rotation that certainly gets it done. The bullpen's got to get it together, especially Chad Green, and this team just can't take these nights off where they're not hitting.
Yeah, I mean, see, I was listening, the way I gather a lot of information through internet and then watching the shows. So, and Joe, I think you're right. The Yankees-Rays matchup does not work well for the Yankees. We've seen that. We've seen that. I mean, and it's not just 1 year of
this is years.
This is the last couple years that the Rays somehow match up very well. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, they match up very well. Maybe that's because they have good starting pitching and bullpen. Maybe because they have clutch hitting. I don't know. Whatever the thing is, it's the same scenario that we use and Travis spoke about with the Yankees versus the A's, and the Yankees versus the Twins. The way I look at it is, here's the thing. The biggest nemesis for the Yankees is the Rays. I don't look at anyone in the AL else that is in a team that I fear.
Yeah.
I don't. Right now, we looked at the matchups. Right now, if the playoffs start today, Yankees would be the 5, White Sox would be the 4. I don't see the White Sox beating the Yankees. Here's the reasons why. 1 point, they haven't been there. This team is nice, the White Sox. They had expected this team that they were going to be where they would be this year and next year. They have a lot of young talent. Abreu's playing.
But could that be could the White Sox be like that Yankees team of 2017?
No,
where we thought the Yankees were a year or 2 away.
Just because I think this Yankee team is motivated, and when the playoffs hit, they can flip that switch.
Oh.
I really do believe that because we spoke before.
But it's only a 3-game series. That's
okay. You got Cole 1, you got Tanaka 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and the way Hap has been pitching, I'd put him in game 3. And I like that 3 against any other 3, except for maybe the Rays.
Who would have said that at the beginning of the year?
The Yankees match up well against the Twins and A's, so I don't worry about those 2 teams. The thing is, I worry about the Rays,
who we would play in the second round. If the playoffs ended today, they'd play the White Sox.
And see, this team is so weird and it's so uncomfortable to say, but we talked about before the show, the peaks and valleys of this Yankee team. They start off 16-6, then 5-15, then they go 10-0. Now they're 1-4 with 3 games to play. We don't know what to expect yet.
Is that concerning? That's what I'm talking about, because you only do have 3 games realistically against either the White Sox or whoever you play. I don't know, depending on the series outcome this weekend. That is a concerning thing because of the game of runs. And you said the switch. All it takes is you got to flip the switch. We don't know what Yankee team's going to show up.
The only thing I think that hurts the Yankees is because it's a 3-game set and not a 5-game set, which it would normally be in a normal playoff year before they made the changes. I think the Yankees have a much more advantage in a 5-game set because of the bullpen and because of their team. And usually the better team wins the longer the series goes on. In a shortened 3-game series, if the Yankees happen to lose game 1 for some odd reason,
then the pressure comes.
Then the pressure really comes on Tanaka in game 2 to win the next 2. And this team, the question is, do the Yankees face pressure? Immense pressure. We talked about it when we did our first pre-show in June.
But not as much.
We all had the Yankees-Dodgers. The Yankees.
I wouldn't say as much.
Listen, if the Yankees don't make the World Series, and I know I'm clapping like an Italian guy, but if they don't make the World Series, it's a failure. We've talked about this 2-3 years, and you and Joe have gotten into this. Hey, if the Yankees don't get to the World Series, it's a failure. Joe was like, it's not a failure. This team wasn't supposed to be in the World Series. They won 103 games. They got a new coach. They got young players. Okay. I think now if they lose, and I'm using the first round, it's a failure. Don't make excuses, short season, this and that. Everyone's facing this scenario.
But do you feel as though they don't? I don't feel like they're going in with those expectations. I know they expected to win. It's the Yankees. It's like when the Lakers. It's just how it is. It's that brand. It's the Cowboys. The pressure of winning. But you think about it, compared to where they were at the beginning of January when they signed Garrett Cole, to where they are now. Not many people are expecting the Yankees to win. You almost
still the Yankees. Of course.
Joe, am I right by
saying that?
It feels like but you know what? A couple years ago, like I said, the 2017 team, they were the Yankees, but they came in as underdogs. Oh, but they're still the Yankees. They're coming in. Not many people are expecting. I feel like the pressure is more. I feel like the pressure is more on the Rays.
Listen, the Yankees will go into the White Sox as the favorites.
Hold on for 1 sec. There's more pressure I would feel with the Rays just because how great they've been than the New York Yankees.
We're not talking about the Rays. We're talking about the White Sox.
I know, but but I don't care about the White Sox. Forget about every team other than the one team I think that the Yankees are going to struggle with is the Tampa Bay Rays because we've seen it in our own division. My point is that, Joe, do you feel there's more pressure with the Rays because of how great they've been than there would be the Yankees? Yet there is still pressure, but the pressure isn't as high.
No, I think that, and this is the stupid part of the way sports are covered is, I think so many people just can't get over the idea that the Rays are a really great organization. Yes. We want to act like all the guys on the roster are like nobodies when you have at least a couple of all-stars on that team. You have guys who are great everyday players. So, this idea it's like the same old poor Rays, that's absolutely nonsense. It's all about the pitching. They've got great young arms. They figured out the right recipe where throwing guys that throw 98 to 100 every inning after the fifth. I mean, that's going to win you a lot of games if you throw strikes and you play good defense. And that's what they teach in that organization. So let's stop pretending this is the Tampa Rays from 2006. It's not. This is like a big boy team. This organization's had 22 years to matriculate, and look, here they are. They've got a formula that's enviable for anybody in baseball. You want to run an organization, take a look at what Tampa did. Now, can Tampa continue to dominate the Yankees? No, they absolutely can't. That's going to come to an end. Just like every Yankee fan I see was like, oh, I hope we play the Twins. I don't care if it's in Minnesota. We always beat the Twins. This isn't like 2007. What are you talking about? Every series, every team is different. History's great, but if we just hang our hat on history, then we give idiot Red Sox fans fuel to those 27 rings. How many in your lifetime? Well, still more than you've seen. Still more than you've seen in your lifetime. So settle down.
Trev's thought process when he spoke about this, he said, "Well, I don't worry about the Twins and the A's because maybe I'm the past history." I feel that has to play a little bit into the factor of the ex-players on the opposing teams when they go to Yankees. Are we? And you know what I mean? You get to the fifth inning and you're up 2-0 or 3-0, then the Yankees come back. You're like, oh boy, here it comes again. Here's the Yankee rush. I think we as fans and people who talk about this look at, hey, listen, we don't worry about the A's and the Twins because of the history. And you expect, hey, listen, what's changed about the Yankees in the last 2 years that would make you think otherwise? Nothing. It's the same players, the same personnel. If anything, maybe the personnel has gotten better for the Yankees. So why wouldn't this team be able to handle it?
So if you had to put your top three coming into the playoffs, it would be the Dodgers at number one for pressure. Then you would put the Yankees. I don't know if it's different. To me would be the Dodgers. Then I would put the Rays. Then I would put the Yankees.
I have to correct.
I would put the Yankees. No, you don't have to correct me. That's just my opinion. I would say the Yankees at 3 and the Rays at 2 right now.
I don't know how you.
That's just me.
But I don't know how you put the Rays ahead of the Yankees. The Rays
because
don't
they
have pressure.
They've been.
Trev, it's the Tampa Rays.
I know. That's what Joe. If you listen to Joe, what he just explained.
Yeah, but they don't face pressure.
Hold on. But
if the Rays don't win the World Series,
my point is, did you hear what Joe just said?
I heard what he said. But if the Yankees and
that's
Rays,
none of my business.
If the Yankees and Rays,
I can say it again if you want me to.
We might have to write it down for him.
It's more disappointing for the Yankees if they don't make the World Series and the Rays.
No, that's fact. 100%. That's fact.
I disagree with that. I'll tell you why.
I would agree with him on that.
I think if you're Tampa, I think this might be the best chance you have.
That also I agree with.
Things are going to be very different for Tampa.
Not more pressure, though. Because when you come back next year, you're coming back to a normal season again.
Well, Ted, what's pressure? The ability to win again next season and sustain what you're doing, or is pressure living up to the high expectations of the fans and the media? Because if it's that, which is artificial and basically made up, I could look at the Yankees roster and be like, well, with all those injuries, third place is the best they could do. If that's the expectation I set, well, then they've exceeded it.
I say that.
So hold on. It's a very arbitrary thing compared to this is a window for the Tampa Rays. They've got a lot of questions going into next season as far as free agency. So this is their window Toronto's getting better. Baltimore's getting better. The Yankees are perennial. The Red Sox are in a rebuild that probably lasts through next season. This is the Rays' best chance to win a World Series. So, yeah, all the pressure is on the Tampa Rays right now.
I agree with that. This is their best chance, but the more pressure is on the Yankees because, Joe, it is the Yankees. It's the nature of the ball game. It's just like the Dallas Cowboys. It's just like the big.
That's a very overinflated
way to look at things.
We
talk about the Yankees, the 10 years. It's a fan thing. Listen, no one cares if the Rays don't make the World Series, Joe. There's going to be if the Rays don't make the World Series.
Well, the Rays fans do.
If the Yankees don't make the World Series. People is everything. We will talk about another disappointing.
Yeah, but they're already saying they don't expect the Yankees to go to the World Series. So why would that? How would the Yankees be playing down expectations if people already don't think they're going to win the World Series? I think again, it seems more likely that the Yankees will get hot. Yep. That the Yankees will do what they do in these series. They're going to bash teams' skulls in. They've got the pitching. They've got the pitching. You've got three guys. You've got three guys in Cole, Tanaka, and Happ who can give you 7 every night. I only need Britton and Chapman for 1, and we can go home.
And that's the thing.
The recipe. The recipe is there for the Yankees to just go in there, hit some home runs, shut the other team down. And if people want to downplay that on ESPN or wherever else, great. To me, that only sets the stage for the Yankees to roll through the playoffs.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I just don't know what team's going to show up.
I want to come in. Hold on. That's where I want to come in. The Rays throughout this entire season, I know it's in a shortened season, but throughout this entire season, they've been consistent throughout. Am I wrong about that? They've been the best team in the AL. Other than maybe a brief 1 week or 2 week period when we thought the Yankees or the Athletics were up there. But the Rays have been the most consistent team in the AL. They've been the best team in the AL. Where the Yankees, like you just said, Ted, with that stat, they've been so up and down that you don't know what Yankee team you're going to get. I expect the Rays coming into the playoffs as the best AL team, but that could be different with the Yankees. It's the thing is, which Yankee team is showing up, because you kept saying they can flip the switch. One game, they can go off for 12 to 15 runs. We literally just saw it 2 weeks ago. And then back then, this week, they could go for 1 or 2 runs and can't hit a curveball. That's the thing where the Rays have been throughout this season, have been at the top of the AL, where the Yankees have been in that middle of the pack order. They've been up and down.
Would you agree, with the exception of Garrett Cole, that this has been the same team the Yankees have had now for the last 3 seasons, right? Enter Cole, in place of whoever your ace at the time was.
100%.
The Yankees go into this postseason, as far as I'm concerned, as the best team in baseball on paper. On paper, I don't think that you can argue what the Yankees have on paper. And really, I mean, I think you're probably penciling in like David Garcia as your 4th starter. And again, in a rotation that's been great with guys who are proven postseason performers in Cole and Tanaka.
What about the Dodgers? What about the Dodgers? Because the Dodgers might be the most complete team. I mean, you really look. I mean, everyone they have, from the batting lineup to the pitching staff. The only thing you would knock on the Dodgers may be the bullpen
again.
Yes,
but you know what?
Which is the most important thing in the postseason.
But if your starters are giving you 7 innings and you're up 7-1, you know.
Yeah, but no starters are going 7 innings in the postseason, and you know it. You've been watching this garbage the last 2 years.
What do we always say about with the Yankees and stuff? We always go to the bullpen. We're always, let's get to the bullpen. That's all we need. It's become a bullpen game in the postseason. I agree with Joe on that.
We'll see what happens because there's an extra series. Joe, I will ask this, and it goes with the pressure thing, and I'll ask Trev too, to you guys. Instead of we're eliminating the Yankees as a pressure, as a team, right? Then there's got to be pressure on certain players. Then, if it's not the Yankees as a team, then there's got to be pressure on certain players.
I think it's the obvious. I think it's the obvious ones.
And who do you think are the top 2 guys on the New York Yankees?
My top 3 players for me would be Sanchez, Judge, and Stanton. They're 3 big bats.
Not Cole.
If Cole doesn't perform, Cole would be there. I mean, Torres can be there. But if I had to,
do you think there's more pressure on the players in the team? Individual players on themselves.
I actually do,
because of who they are.
Yes, because of the factor that Sanchez is still looking for a big contract. Judge is going to be looking for a big contract, and Stanton, well, he just can't stay in the field. So I would say those 3, because we rely so heavily on those 3. We always say, oh man, that the moment we got Giancarlo Stanton, all we ever talked about, oh my God, can you imagine? We're going to have Judge, Stanton, and Sanchez. Oh my God, they're gonna shatter records. That's all I'm trying to say. And then we're still waiting for that because they can't stay consistently on the field. It's like the Giants. The Giants finally had their first last week up until Barkley got hurt. The first time Daniel Jones had all of his weapons healthy. That's all I'm trying to say. I want to see these guys. It's very obvious. Cole would be a close fourth. Would literally be right there just because it's Garrett Cole. He's their workhorse. He's their number one guy. Plain and simple. That would be me. I wouldn't say anybody else. If anybody else wants to, if you guys agree, just nod your head and say yes.
Well, I think
sure.
Because I think you guys.
I think though
He said sure.
I think though in this year though, Joe made a good point. Is this team pretty much the same as it's been 3 years? It has. But here's the thing. I think the team going in there has to be different. Clint Frazier has to be in the starting lineup.
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
You know what I mean? I think most years you would say 100% Gary Sanchez has to be the starting catcher for majority of the games.
He's not going
I think now that's a 50-50 question, and it's a legit question. And I'm not knocking him. Just the season he has is giving me that standpoint where, like, hey, listen, the ERA for the pitching staff is a run lower when he's not catching, but we know what he could do when the bat makes contact with the ball. It goes really far and really hard.
The Yankees have to let Gary Sanchez play, and he's got to catch. You can't have Ishikawa be in the start full-time catcher throughout the post. He has to play catcher. Now, if that's with Garrett Cole, okay.
And also, I think
Garrett
Luke
Cole,
Voit has to continue the MVP stretch he's had this season because we've seen this before with Yankee players in the past. They have a great regular season, and then the playoffs come in, and they chill.
That's what I'm saying. All of them face pressure, but if I had to pick the top three, it's always been those three since they formed that trio a couple years ago. That's just me. I mean, Cole is going to obviously because he's the highest paid pitcher in baseball. He's the guy that we all said this was the missing piece. So Cole has to be in there. Torres is another guy just because the last time I remember him in the postseason, well, he was striking out with an opportunity for us to maybe win last year against the Astros.
Kyle Higashioka hit 255. Eric Kratz 321. I mean, when these guys get in there, they produce.
Is this just another Romine thing?
Of course it is, because again, look, these guys are only on major league rosters because of their catching ability. Kyle Higashioka wouldn't be considered a prospect if he wasn't such an outstanding framer and a good receiver. He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be on the Yankees major league roster. He just wouldn't be. Eric Kratz wouldn't be 56 years old and still playing Major League Baseball if he wasn't an outstanding catcher. So, again, to expect Gary Sanchez, who's a hitter first, always has been, make no mistake, we know what Gary's weapons are. Let's see anybody steal on Gary in the postseason. You know, I mean, you sort of alluded to it, Ted. It's a trade-off. You know, Gary, you might give up another run per 9 when he's behind the plate, but he might get 4 back with one swing.
See, and I think in the old way of thinking is if the rest of your lineup, the Yankees, right, hits the way we expect them to, right, you can let Gary Sanchez sit on the bench because you don't need his offense because the other 8 guys – if you remember the teams when the Yankees were good in the 90s, Joe Girardi was their catcher. I mean, Posada later on, but you don't need a great catcher to be a hitter. He's there to be your defensive mindset. He's your quarterback. He's the one. It's kind of like he's the most important guy on the field, other than pitcher. He's the one calling the game, directing the shots. He controls all the base runners. Okay, you don't need your catcher to hit 3 home runs in a game.
Okay.
If he can dominate the game, it's like a center. The center calls all the blocking schemes. Okay, we look at the quarterback, but where's the start? Where's the snap start?
No, but
He's got to snap the ball. He controls all the offense line, calls out all the blocking schemes. If you know anything about offensive line, the center is the most important guy, not the tackle. The center, everything starts from there. If Glaber hits the way you expect, if Stanton hits the ball, if Frazier and Judge and DJ and Gio and everyone else that I'm not naming hits the ball like we expect them to, you don't need the catcher to go 2 for 3 with a home run. He can go 1 for 3.
The catcher doesn't need to be.
As long as he dominates the defensive side.
It's kind of like the tight end position where the tight end back in the day was just known for blocking. Now the tight end in the NFL is so valuable that you can use him as a receiver. George Kittle is one of the most valuable players in the NFL because he can block, he can receive, he can play, he can be a receiver as well. But the catcher, look at the catchers now in the MLB. You got some great catchers that hit for power. Real Milto, Contreras. I know him, Grandel from Chicago, Sanchez. You have guys that can hit 20 to – well, I said Contreras. That can hit for 20, 25, 30 home runs now, whereas catchers, you just don't need – it's not like the Joe Girardis of the game where it gives you 5, 10 home runs and you're good with that.
Yeah, but runs are a premium.
Catchers are more valuable.
It's better to have
catchers are very valuable now, not just because of being as a defensive side of the ball, but offensively as well.
Then I'll ask Joe, because he's always been an opponent of having Gary Sanchez. Would you rather take the defensive catcher in the playoffs than a hitting catcher who's going to slightly be not up to par on the defensive side of the plate?
Well, so you made a great comparison back to Posada and Girardi. The Yankees basically tried to hand the job to Jorge Posada in 1997, again in 1998. He basically split time in 99, and it wasn't until 2000 when he finally became the full-time catcher. And then technically it wasn't until 2001 where he got the bulk of the assignments, and that's when the Yankees just stopped winning World Series. So say what you want about, having a good defensive catcher when it was mostly Girardi. They won 3 out of 4 championships. So, you could certainly speak to that. That was a team obviously known very much for its clutch hitting, great bullpen, starters who had great postseason experience. I mean, those teams were very similar. Now, the difference between Jorge Posada and Gary Sanchez is Posada couldn't block the plate. He didn't have nearly the arm Gary Sanchez has, and he was a much worse receiver than was Gary Sanchez, not to mention, and I liked Jorge's bat later on in his career, but the difference between what Gary Sanchez brings now and what Jorge Posada brought in those late 90s teams, not even close. So that's what you really have to ask yourself. How much are you losing by sitting Gary Sanchez for a couple of games if that's what you decide to do? Or if you decide Higashioka will catch Cole, but Stanton will be DHing that night, and Gary sits on the bench hoping for maybe a pinch hitting opportunity, that's a decision you'll have to make. Can Gary's bat in certain spots make up for his deficiencies behind the plate? Or do you ride the hot hand? You've got 2 really good backup catchers that you're probably bringing on your roster into the postseason. They're both going to be there. They're both going to play. And again, if that means that Gary DHs some or just pinch hits, then maybe that's what it's going to be. But I will say this. I saw an interesting stat this morning. He's got 16 balls he's hit over 100 miles per hour that have landed in somebody's glove for an out. I mean, he has hit into this 140 batting average. I know it's bad. I know the 190 was awful last year, but you started to see it towards the end of last year. He was kind of breaking out of it. His chase rate's really down. He's swinging at better pitches. He's squaring up and hitting the ball. Did it just the other night where he hit one to the track. Nothing to show for it.
Last night, 386. He had a 386 last night. Got caught at the warning track.
An unbelievable amount of bad luck that he's hit into where, things could be. I mean, if he had 16 more base hits, think about what that would do to his average right now. We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, I will tell you this, and I said to Trev quietly while you were speaking, I just said, I'd put Gary on the bench because I don't think you can bring any – think about this. What team can bring Gary Sanchez off the bench late in the game for an at-bat? I would – if you needed a home run, I'm not bringing Kyle – I'm not bringing him off the bench. I bring Sanchez off the bench. Listen, I know what people are going to say. He sucks in the clutch, all this other stuff. All it takes is one at-bat. All it takes is one bomb, a home run, and it could fuel him and the team, and it can get rolling.
Guys, let me ask this very quickly before we get into the NFL. What do you think is the most important aspect for the Yankees to be successful heading into the postseason?
Clutch hitting. Okay. It's all about clutch hitting because all we talk about this team is home runs, home runs, home runs. Who gives a crap about the home runs? I don't care if they don't hit a single home run the entire postseason. What do you do when there's 2 outs? What do you do when there's a man on first and no outs? Do you move them over to get him to third? Can you advance runners? Can you bunt? Can you make the simple plays, the smart baseball plays? Those are the things that matter most. I don't care about home runs because we've seen in the playoffs it don't mean nothing if you can't win the games and at crucial times.
Joseph?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. Wow, I caught you off guard on that one. What would be to you? Quickly,
I know he's just agreeing with
me. Yes, just exactly. 100. The most important aspect for the Yankees to be successful heading into the postseason. Clutch hitting,
Well, to me, I think the Yankees. I think the bullpen's got to get right. I think this bullpen's got to get back to coming in there and getting outs. And again, I don't go in there with the unrealistic expectations that everybody's going to pitch a clean inning every time out. Which especially when you're playing the best teams in the postseason, you're going to get dinked and dunked. But they can't give up 8-10 runs in an inning like we've seen lately. Ottavino's got to get it together. Chad Green's got to get it together. I think Britton and Chapman will be just fine. But if those two aren't pitching well, I think this team could be in some real trouble because the bullpen is supposed to be the strong part of the Yankees. A 4.78 ERA is not what you expected from this bullpen. And the 24 decisions is a lot. When you consider that you've got right. I mean, that's pretty bad. I might even think that might be, probably some of the biggest numbers in the game. 15 wins out of your relief squad in a 60-game season. But if those guys can't get it done, think about how the season ended last year with Chapman. Can't have that. If the Yankees are executing like they're capable of in all facets, I think, and I think right now they are for the most part. I think they're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just plain and simple. I'm going to agree with both of you. You can't go wrong with either one. The clutch hitting needs to be better. We've seen it past couple of years, and the bullpen has to be the bullpen of old. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have what happened the other night, a 4-2-1 loss, and Boone and Boyd caught and saying, you're getting into postseason. This is when you're supposed to be starting to play your best ball. Can't
the
feel
Yankees
the ball,
are going
can't throw
cold.
the ball, can't hit the ball.
We'll see how the series goes against the Marlins, but it's crunch time for the New York Yankees and for the rest of these 16 teams.
I would like to see them to sweep and roll in.
Heading into the postseason. Here we go. Postseason underway. Let's see what the Yankees are made of. Let's shift over to the gridiron and start off with the New York Football Giants. Okay. We started on, I think we had a show, when we had a Tuesday, I think we had us three, and you guys both said that you do not think the Giants are going to win. Okay. Well, the Giants are coming into this game 0-2.
Well, coming up this week?
Yeah, against the 49ers.
We didn't do a prediction on the game.
I know, but you guys didn't think. I think you both said you could see the Giants easily losing this game.
0-5.
No, yeah, you thought the Giants.
Dallas next week and the Rams after San Francisco.
So the Giants are playing against a team that is decimated. I'll get into the injuries in just a brief sec, but this is a team that's fought the past two games. I know they're 0-2, but there's a lot of fight. They're never quitting. They're giving the best they got for 60 minutes, and this is a young team. There's not a lot of great talent on this team, but they're young, and they're going to get more mature. They're going to continue to grow. So I know they lose Saquon. It's a massive loss, but you're going against a team that we all thought coming into this season might be one of the favorites to represent the NFC again.
I had them
in
as
Tampa.
You did, so did I.
But I had them losing.
So did I.
But we didn't think that all of these players and some of the best players are going to be out for long periods of time and even out for the season. So, Joe, here's the injury report, and there could be more, but here's some of the names that are not playing on Sunday, why I think the Giants are going, and Joe Judge is going to get his first win come Sunday afternoon. Jimmy G is out. Mostert's out. Tevin Coleman, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd, George Kittle, Weston Richburg. Bosa's out for the year. D. Ford, Ronald Blair, Solomon Thomas is out for the year. Dre Greenlaw, and Richard Sherman. If the Giants lose this game to a team that is probably picking up some of their practice squad players, we got a lot of explaining to do for this, because this is a team, like I said, that I've seen in the past 2 weeks. Yes, they've lost, but they've had opportunities literally to win or stay in those games and be maybe not 0-2, maybe 1-1. Well, realistically, it could be 1-1 because they had the chance to win last week. So this team has had opportunities to win, whereas previous years, this team has been garbage and looks like they didn't care. Now they have care. If the Giants lose to a team led by Nick Mullins, who the last time I think he started was on Monday night against the Giants, in which he lost, the Giants should win this game. I do believe they have the better team coming in this Sunday. I know it sounds crazy because we're talking about an 0-2 team, but the Giants should come into this game winning this game and going 1-2 just because of that injury report and a team that is decimated with like some of the best players.
Well,
Their two best players are out, George Kittle and Nick Bosa.
I think Nick Bosa.
There's no way the Giants should lose this game, Joseph. And Ted.
Stop. First of all, you're the two words you just put together.
I don't
Giants.
care. I'm feeling bold today. The Giants shouldn't lose.
Giants shouldn't lose. That's the first
I'm
mistake.
feeling good. I'm feeling good. Like I picked the Lakers to win last night. There's no way the Lakers were losing last night. There's no way the Miami Heat are losing tonight. And then the Giants.
But hold on. If the Lakers didn't have LeBron James last night, you wouldn't say something as ridiculous as what you're saying. Don't forget the Giants lost their best player and their offensive centerpiece. Their defense has done a good job, but they're not that good. They're probably not going to outscore San Francisco, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, the Giants were down 17-0 led by Saquon Barkley. They almost had a chance to come at the 1 yard. Literally, the last play of the game had a chance to win.
You sound like the Democrats. We almost won.
No,
we almost won.
You won the popular vote.
Yeah, you won the popular. Don't compare me to that now, please.
That's what you sound like.
Don't throw negativity like that at me.
First of all,
not for nothing. If the Giants didn't play like absolute trash
in the first half
for 3 quarters, they wouldn't have been down 17-0. That's great that they finally had a good fourth quarter for the first time in like 3 years, Trevor. But you know what? If I'm going to get one good fourth quarter and 3 quarters are garbage, let's go back to the old way because that was more enjoyable to watch.
You're giving me all this crap. Says the same guy that still wants to praise Gary Sanchez and wants to say he's the greatest catcher in the world, but I'm still waiting for him to get over 150 batting average.
What did I just say like 7 minutes ago? I just said 7 minutes ago to play Higashioka. What are you?
No, Joe, he's not listening. No, because I'm losing.
I think you got too much hair gel in today, buddy.
It's finally happening.
Joe, he's not listening.
Because
should we write this down for him?
Yeah.
You're finally coming around knowing that. This is all.
We need closed captioning, I think, on the screen.
This is a game that the Giants should win.
No,
they should win.
Stop saying that. They could.
Okay,
you want to say? Hold on. No.
Could is a difference.
Time out. In the last 3 seasons, the Giants have gotten their asses kicked 3 times. That's it. So I want you to listen to me carefully.
Okay.
Carefully. The New York Giants in the last 3 seasons have lacked the ability to stay close to stay competitive in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Which was a characteristic we grew very used to with Eli Manning. So the idea that this team gets into the fourth quarter last couple of years and has been garbage and has figured out historic ways to lose, them losing at the 1 yard line did that surprise you? It didn't surprise. I sat there like this.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. No, it didn't.
That seemed about right. That seemed like the way we you know what? We hadn't lost a game that way, so we were due for one of those. But to say that the Giants to say they should win is ridiculous. To say they could win is very reasonable. But here's the thing. With this defense, with the Niners defense beat up, with Bosa gone, right?
What weapons do they have?
Hold on. For the first 3 quarters, the Giants had 2 plays go more than 4 yards. Both went 7, and both ended in punts. Okay?
That's big time yardage.
Everything else was either a 3 and out or a 4 and out. Okay? And almost every time, the Bears offense rammed, when the Giants 3 and out, the Bears rammed the ball back down the Giants' throats.
Giants can't stop the run, and the 49ers run the ball well. And
actually, their defense
is but I'll tell you this too, Teddy. I think more importantly, because if you look at the numbers, the Giants look good. The defense has played well, but if
the offense is the problem,
they're out on the field, and especially if you're turning the ball over on your own side of the 50, boy, you're just asking for points to go up. And if that's 3, 4, or 5 times, you're going to lose 15-5. 6,
and that's
7.
Why I think,
you know what I mean? That to me, that's what I'm concerned about. Is are you gonna leave the Niners on the field so long that Mullins connects on a couple, or McKinnon breaks off one of those 75-yard runs that he's capable? 3 carries for 91 yards last week. McKinnon doesn't need but a couple of carries to score touchdowns.
Well,
that's why he's on all my
Remember, they played the Jets. Don't compare the Giants and the Jets.
But here's the thing, and I think we're getting a little off topic. We are
We're not. We're getting inspired right now.
No. We got to focus it down on this.
Focus it. Ted's bringing it back to life. Who would have thought that?
Daniel Jones, we know he's a good player. We've seen him come back and win big games. We've seen his talent.
He only has 3 wins in his career. You know that?
Yeah, 3 wins.
He's only got 3 wins. Hold on.
Listen, I think if the way Trevor's speaking about it, Daniel Jones has to look like the number 6 pick then. He has to play much better, okay? You could tell me Saquon's out. Fine. All right.
He was out last year.
But you know what? So was he out last year. And this means that teams can't focus on one point. The ball has to be spread around. Evan Ingram has to start looking like a number 1 first-round pick, or he needs to kick rocks, okay? Golden Tate, they got to use him in the slot, get him the ball and quick screens. He's like a running back playing receiver. He's great after the catch. Get him the ball early and quick. Let him make a couple moves. Give him a 3-yard catch, boom, and let him see what he can do, okay? We know what Darius Slayton can do. Can hit the deep long ball, all right? We got Deion Lewis. He actually looked pretty well last week in the second half after Saquon went out.
He played well.
They signed Devontae Freeman this week.
I'm excited to see how
people are like, oh, my God, Devontae Freeman. Well, what's going to happen if he gets hit behind the
he's also a good pass blocker. He's one of his strong suits.
And Wayne Gallman. Here's another opportunity for him to step up to the plate and look the part.
Quick step for Daniel Jones.
I think this plays a huge point on Daniel Jones and the Giants offense. And can they at least score some points? Because we've had 2 drives in the last 2 games. We had a 19-play drive against the Steelers, and I believe last week a 17 or 18-play drive. And I believe both times they didn't get any points. One was a pick. So we have to convert. And what that comes down to, the quarterback making the right play and executing it.
Here's what I was going to say.
And if all these players for the 49ers are out and we can't score more than 20 points this week, I think the Giants have to reevaluate who their quarterback is in the future. Because I can see other quarterbacks out in the league. You look at Joe Burrow last week, you're like, that guy can play. You look at Kyler Murray, you're like, that guy can play. You don't need 3 years to figure out if a quarterback can play. We're already seeing Baker Mayfield and Darnold. See you later. If you guys can't start, you're done. Josh Allen, he can play. Lamar, Mahomes. You needed 2-3 games to know that guy's the real deal.
Here's a bad stat for Daniel Jones. He has 9 games with at least 2 turnovers since 2019, tied with famous Jameis. So that's a bad stat to have. But
hello, Trevor Lawrence.
He's got it. We'll talk about that. That all depends on this week. Can we just give a quick prediction for this Giant game? Niners win 24-14. Come on, Michael. Where's the love?
Just the tip, and I love it. Mike Tipton is a very blunt and very honest man.
I would say a closer game.
What do you got? Give me a score. Hurry up.
27-24 49ers.
Who do you got?
I got 23-16. I think the Giants lose late
Niners
again.
Giants.
Niners. Niners are going to win.
The Niners, so when the Giants win, everyone could be like, you were wrong. I'd be like, that's right, but my team won. Thank you very much.
I'm going to go with the Giants 21-17.
Joe, you guys should take a sandwich on that.
No, I'm good with the bets. I'm done embarrassing them.
No, listen, you're taking a shot in the dark here.
How are we up to stakes?
You're taking a shot in the dark here, and you're hoping the most injured team in football. You're hoping that your team, our team,
yeah,
on its best day, can beat the 49ers on their worst day. And you might be right. And listen, I will be watching the game cheering that they win, but at the end of the game when they lose is what I'm going to be like.
Listen,
Joe,
Joe, I want to interrupt. Trev is right. And it'll win one way with Daniel Jones is the better quarterback on the field this week. Nick Mullins. The Giants should take advantage of Nick Mullins. Not having the running backs, not having 5 defensive starters. The Giants should capitalize.
If they win,
because here's the thing. I don't care how
the
49ers secondary is not that good. They are good when they have D Ford and Nick Bosa and everyone else on that defensive line.
All I'm trying to say is if they win, I don't care how they win, a win's a win, Joe. And I'm
going with the Giants.
I'm going with the Giants. Plain simple.
Giants 31-6.
Wow. Don't go
there. It's a blowout. They completely dominate. There's a pick six.
Let's get over to the NFC. Let's stick to the NFC East. And a huge game in Seattle, the 4:30 game. Dak Prescott taking on that Cowboys are dominating. They're blowing in the night. I love it. Let's get into that game. And that's a huge game quickly. just a standpoint, you have right now maybe the best player in the NFL in Russell Wilson and playing out of his mind after the big Sunday night game, 5 touchdowns. And then Dak Prescott starting to get a groove of things, but anytime you play the Atlanta Falcons defense, anybody's going to look amazing.
Especially in Dallas when they were up 28-3.
Yeah, 28-3.
They were up 20 points in the first quarter.
20 points. It wasn't 28-3.
They were 20. And the Super Bowl was 23 in Dallas. Both times they blew the lead. It was in Dallas. Both games.
Yes, it was. It was in Houston. Go look it up. Actually, don't ever test me with that. So Dak Prescott, all we've been hearing this. Yeah, you know you're thinking because I know I'm right. Dak Prescott, all we've been hearing all offseason is what are you shaking your head at over there? Dak Prescott has been waiting for this big contract, and Dallas has been holding off. Well, does he deserve it? Well, guess what? This is a game that you deserve to get your money. If you have another big game like last week where you throw for 400 yards and you dominate against a team that is, to some, maybe the best team in the NFC right now, and you go into Seattle, I don't care if there's no fans or not. Anytime you can win in Seattle, it's still winning in Seattle. And Russell Wilson, we know what he's done. But Dak Prescott, do you want your money? Do you want to be considered one of the elites in this game? I'm still on the TBD bandwagon because I'm still not sold on Dak Prescott. So he needs to come in and he needs to be great because every time he plays opponents that are 500 or better, he's some way just goes like Andy Dalton, his backup. He goes MIA and he decides to not become a good quarterback. So it's a huge game for Dak Prescott, plain and simple. Russell Wilson's going to do his thing. It's that simple. He needs to be great, though, Dak Prescott. For them to win, he needs to be great.
Remember this, that it wasn't until Eli went to Green Bay and won a big football game that we started putting the Eli in elite, right? Yeah. Or whatever that. But again, right? I mean, he went in there on the road and he won some big games. And that's why we talk about Eli Manning the way we do. And Cowboys fans can't understand that. They just don't know. And I
big games last year,
pity them.
Lost in New England, lost at the Saints, lost the big Week 16 game against Philly,
and lost to Green Bay too.
You listen. He dominates weaker opponents.
He dominated the Giants. Yeah, of course. He threw for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns all over the Redskins. Yeah, I mean last week we're going to talk about Dak Prescott. He threw for 452 yards and had no touchdown passing, but he ran for 3. But that's on the Falcons. That's not on him.
That defense is atrocious.
I mean, listen.
That's the worst defense.
That's called garbage points. And listen, hello, go recover the fumble. I'm at the onside kick. I mean, what are you teaching your guys down there? Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator. The Falcons are atrocious on the defense.
Troy Aikman said one of the most true stats ever. I mean, last year is against the Bears, and Dak was racking up stats. Oh, it's just pity-patty stats. That's the problem. That's what Dak Prescott does. He needs to take advantage of against a team that is, to some, like I said, a Super Bowl favorite.
And I question Dallas's mentality going into this game. Mike McCarthy, on the record, says we need to score early and often. No. You do not want to score early and often. You want to control the game.
You want to keep number 3 off the field.
You want to feed Zeke. Yep. You want to control the score. You do want to score. Absolutely. You want to score touchdowns, not field goals. But you need to control the game. And you do not want to give Russell Wilson 12 to 13 extra possessions. Total possessions. No, possessions. That's what they get in a game. Give or take 12 to 13. You're going to give Russell Wilson that many opportunities to score on you. You're going to lose. Okay? If you slow the game down and dominate the clock, you can condense those possessions and you win the game. You do not want to go against Russell Wilson running around on your defense making plays because that's what he does great. That's where he is the best in the league. When the plays break down, he is the best in the league without a question and doubt.
What do you think?
And he's the most accurate quarterback right now in football.
What do you think, Joseph?
I think the Seahawks are going to win this game is what I think is going to happen. And look, I mean, I think if you're Dak and I think if you're Daniel Jones, I think these are big weeks for you and for very different reasons. I mean, if Daniel Jones can't beat a banged up 49ers team at home, then yeah, maybe we should start talking about Trevor Lawrence or, some new plan B, because that would be pretty telling. It's like you're being gift wrapped an opportunity to win your first game for your head coach at home. If you really buy into the system, prove it. And again, for Dak, a good team on the road. So it'd be a huge win for the Dallas Cowboys. They need this game in a big way. If they're going to go anywhere, it's all got to start this week in Seattle for them. I think Dak is up for the challenge, to be honest, because I think when you've got that I think when the dollars are sort of dangling out there, I think guys find a way to like get it done. And again, it'll tell you the kind of player he is. How motivated is this guy?
Because this team should be 0-2 right now. They should be 0-2.
Realistically, they should be 0-2.
They should not be 1-1.
I think, we're all on the Seagulls. I've seen so many. That's what happens when you go to the beach all summer. You see so many of them. You know, me and Ted almost got attacked by seagulls the other day.
What were you doing?
So they were coming to attack my chips.
They were trying to get our chips.
So I chased him away, and then he was just flowing over me. I'm like,
we were trying to go after.
Rats with wings.
We're all on the Seahawks. Dak has to play well. If you want your money, you got to play well.
He has to prove that he's the better quarterback in the field.
You have to prove yourself to be the better quarterback, and you want your money, well, you got to go play and be elite. This is your opportunity Sunday.
And that's a good measurement of where you're at, because we're looking right now at Russell Wilson right now as the MVP favorite. That's what the odds are right now. I know it's week 2. I know it's crazy to even think about that. But the way he's playing right now is phenomenal. All right. So Dak Prescott, if you want to be paid like a guy like Russell Wilson or the Mahomes.
Or your counterparts.
And then Mahomes is probably a bad name because no one's going to.
All right, Carson Wentz and Jared Goff.
Yes. And Russell Wilson.
Well, they're in their draft class. They're in the draft class. So
but if you want to be paid like that, you have to perform like that. And listen, when you win, you get the credit. When you lose, you're going to take the heat. So, if you can't handle it, get out of the kitchen.
Well, let me close out with these two things. We got another NFC game, East game. There's two NFC East quarterbacks. I talked about Dak. I want to get into the other one. I just mentioned his name, Carson Wentz and Drew Brees. Now, these are two of the better quarterbacks, and then we're going to close out with the Monday night game quickly. These are the two better quarterbacks in the league. Drew Brees is an all-time great going into the Hall of Fame. His stats are amazing. Well, the past couple of years, he hasn't been Drew Brees, and that's concerning for a team that is trying to get to a Super Bowl and get one last run with Drew Brees.
We picked them both to make the Super Bowl.
Yes. Okay, let's throw out – well, he doesn't have Michael Thomas. Well, what do we always say about Michael Thomas? He's the slant king. He doesn't go out deep. He doesn't go – I'm sorry. All of a sudden, well, he didn't have Michael Thomas last week. Okay. But Michael Thomas, we always have his nickname as the slant guy because he's always catching slant passes. My problem with Drew Brees, you see a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick last night. Now, I'm not comparing Ryan Fitzpatrick to Drew Brees that anybody's watching right now. But I'm saying this guy's 37 years old, about to be 38. He's still chucking the ball. He throws the ball. Yeah, he might have a lot of turnovers. That's fine. But you see him still taking chances. You saw on Monday night against a Raiders team that doesn't have a great defense, but played well. Brees doesn't take a chance throwing down the field. Now, for Carson Wentz,
because he doesn't have the arm strength.
He's 40-something plus years old. He does have the arm. I'm not telling him to throw 60, 70 yards.
Sure, they don't have a deep threat guy. Okay? Emmanuel Sanders is not a deep threat guy. Michael Thomas, like you said, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm not jumping down your throat. Michael Thomas is not a deep threat guy. Okay? They don't have a deep threat guy. Everything is dinks and dunks, screens to Kamara and Jared Cook.
This is not going to beat you.
And we saw this because last year when Minnesota – their way they beat them was you got to get pressure up in the middle, which we always used to say against Brady, because Brees doesn't like to move side to side. He likes to step up in the play. I say the play, up in the box, up in the –
Now, I know I'm saying Brees. They're 1-1. Well, if you remember in game 1 against Tampa, he looked like crap too. He wasn't good either. It was their defense that was amazing and played well. Well, their defense struggled last week. They needed Brees to come up big, and he didn't. He didn't deliver. He's throwing too many short passes. I'm talking about 15, 20 yards.
I think they'd be better with Taysom Hill.
He's not even extending plays to 15, 20 yards, and he can't move in the pocket, so this is one of his backbones for quite some time, and it's not working. Now, Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz is different. They're 0-2. They don't look good. Their offensive line is decimated, but he, in general, hasn't looked good. He's not making the throws like he is, and this is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. One of the more talented quarterbacks in the league as well. At least Dak Prescott has been playing well. I'll give Dak that. Carson Wentz, these first 2 games, has not – yeah, I literally said it the other day. He got freaking booed with no fans in the stadium. Like, that's how you know you're playing bad. Like, my question to both of you is, though, who needs to step up more for their team to be successful? Is it Carson or is it Drew Brees?
It's both.
If you had to pick one.
No, it's both. Because here's the thing. Wentz has not been healthy, all right? We've known that. That's been a factor that we've mentioned for the last 3 years. He had that one good season where he was MVP caliber before he tore his ACL in the Rams game, okay? He did not win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. right? He didn't look good last year. Yes, I know he was great late in the season when they had no one and he beat Dallas, but then he got hurt again. Does he have the potential of being great? Yes, it's all there. You know it. Carson Wentz has all the makings of being great.
Is it more of his? Is it more of his team with the injuries, or is it him?
If you really want me to pick, I'll take Breeze. You know why? Because this Saints team have been using the same excuse. This is the year. This is the Saints year. They're going to make it to the Super Bowl. This is the year. Well, the reason why they haven't last year is because of Drew Brees' play. Because we've said this over and over, and when you said it last year when we did the show, maybe the best thing that happened to the Saints last year was he got hurt.
Yeah.
So that he was rested and better for the stretch run down the thing. Because we've seen Brees the last couple seasons, he's faltered as the season goes on because he looks like the season wears on him and his body.
Joseph, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Drew Brees might really want to start considering, an exit strategy out of the NFL. I mean, he's clearly not the same. I mean, I get the idea going for one more run, but we're on like season 3 of that. I was just reading yesterday about Eli Manning and how happy he is in his retirement, and he talked about how hard it is for some guys to quit. And I think Brees and I think Brady are two good examples of that. I've talked to a lot of Eagles fans, by the way, who are absolutely over Carson Wentz, and you're seeing a lot more of that on social media. Again, in the NFL in 2020, you don't have a lot of time. The 3-year plan is they're turning into a 2-year plan, and if you look around the league at guys like Baker and Jones and a lot of these younger guys. I mean, look at if you're Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen can't even find and keep a job at this point. If you can't prove it right away, they don't even want you anymore.
Yeah, so because people are losing jobs. People lose jobs.
Absolutely.
General managers get fired.
Well, because look at what Lamar and Mahomes and Kyler Murray and Josh Allen have done.
Was just going to bring those guys up. I mean, if you looked at, you stick these guys into the fire, you move on from a veteran as soon as you can. Aaron Rodgers looking in your direction, you're next. As good as he's playing, I mean, they've got a plan in place. The Packers are smart enough that they're not going to sit there and be caught off guard when Aaron Rodgers starts to look like Drew Brees. And I think that's a really smart move by the Green Bay Packers. Maybe it's motivated Rodgers to play better. Maybe Rodgers is just feeling better in general, but you don't want to be caught off guard as the Giants were, and as many teams around the NFL are, and as New Orleans is about to be as soon as maybe next season. And again, I think the Eagles are really starting to reevaluate, especially the fans, but I think management too. You got to start winning games. Think about the way these two, the Cowboys and the Eagles were like fighting to not win the division last year. You take it. That's unacceptable. That can't happen again. If these guys are franchise quarterbacks, you got to get your butt out there and win some games.
And this will be a big game. I mean, they're playing the Bengals, both 0-2 teams. It looks like it should be a win for them, but you never know. Burrow looks very good so far in his first 2 games. He looks like they have a plan.
And they have an extra 3 days of rest to prepare.
I mean, we'll have to see. I was going to, due to time constraints, we were going to try to get into the Monday night game, but we're going to come back on Monday to give us a preview. Also, we're going to talk about the Yankees playoff preview because then everything will be finally
prediction
set.
On the Rams-Bills. I like the Bills at home, and I heard a stat today. Bills are 12-2 at home when they're the favorite.
That's a tough game because the Rams have looked very good against 2 NFC
But the Bills play good defense. They'll stop the run, which will put pressure on Jared Goff, and Josh Allen will make the plays.
Yeah, you know what, Teddy? Dead on. I think this is the game where Josh Allen shows that he's better than Jared Goff and that he's got to start being considered a little higher up in everyone's top 5 rankings or your top 6 where everybody wants to stick Brady and some of these other old-timers. Josh Allen is for real. Josh Allen said it in the draft. He was better than everybody, and he was right.
Prove it. Got to continue to prove it. Well,
this is the week he gets to prove it. This will be the week.
That's a tough game to pick. I guess I'll go with the Bills just because that defense is nasty. But the Rams, I love what they're doing offensively. A lot of little short dink and dunks plays, getting the tight end game involved. I like what I'm seeing from them. They have a lot of stuff going well for this Rams team, a team that not many people had expectations for. But that's a tough game. I'll go with the Bills. Josh Allen looks great. Jared Goff has looked great. That should be one of the better games of the weekend. There's a lot of good football this Sunday. I cannot wait. It's going to be fun, starting at 1 o'clock. Hopefully Big Blue starts off with a nice victory, and we'll see what happens. Joseph, as always, thanks, buddy.
Always a pleasure, boys.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
Like I said, we'll be back Monday. We'll do a Monday morning recap of week 3 games, and then we'll do Monday Night Football preview.
Probably one of the biggest Monday Night Football games I could think of in a long time.
I wish there were fans. It'd be awesome. But we'll talk about the Monday Night Football game, Lamar versus Mahomes, Chiefs, Ravens. The battle for a number 1 seed is already going early on in the season. We'll talk about how the Giants do. And then, like I said, we could have an NBA Finals preview by then. So we'll see how the Lakers and Heat go, see if the Nuggets go for a third time, 3-1. And then we'll see if the Celtics could come back as well in their series. So we'll see. A lot of things happening. The playoffs in MLB is underway. The Stanley Cup, we can have a Stanley Cup champion soon as well. And then the NBA Finals are on the way, and the college football is back. We haven't even talked college football, but Pac-12 is back. So a lot of things happening in the sports world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good time to be a sports fan. Everybody, we are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City as well as YouTube. You can check us out there at Clovercrest Media also. New shirts, new hoodies. We'll be getting those sooner or later. But we are Keys to the City. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.